I'll be honest, I hadn't planned on doing a review of this fight. Obviously, in the build up, I kind of previewed the undercard of Nathan Heaney versus Brad Pauls 2, but I didn't really plan on doing anything with regards to this event. I was going to talk more about it on Review of the Week tomorrow, and I hadn't really planned on doing a review. But I sat down and just credit where credit's due. This whole card has been flipping amazing. I mean, that fight with Owen Cooper and Echo Usman, I mean, that was electric. That was brilliant. I mean, that was an absolute humdinger of a fight. As is often the case with these Magnificent Seven shows that Frank Warren does, he calls them Magnificent Seven, and the name really does fit because you'll struggle to find one of these shows where you see a bad fight. You really will. They're great cards, and this one was no different. Headlined by Nathan Heaney versus Brad Pauls 2, and yeah, as I said, I didn't plan on even doing a review of this fight, but it was so good, it was so captivating that I just had to talk about it. And I've only just got finished watching it. It's only just happened there, immediate reaction. I thought going into this rematch, Nathan Heaney would probably get the nod this time. In the first fight, he did slow down as the fight progressed. It allowed Brad Pauls to get back into the fight, and I kind of thought, okay, do you know what he's going to do this time? He's going to start off strong. He's going to use his feet. He's going to use his long range. He's going to box Brad Pauls' head off. And Brad Pauls might come back into it, but Nathan Heaney will have enough left in reserve to see out the end of the fight, and it'll probably be a kind of, a reasonably competitive 5-7, 8-4 type of fight. Something like that's what I thought would happen. At the start of the fight, it did seem as though that's what we were going to get, because Nathan Heaney, for the first 3 rounds, 4.5 really, was doing very well, was boxing well, was on the back foot, was moving around very well, was using his legs to good effect. And, you couldn't really make a case that Brad Paul was in the fight for the first 3 rounds. Midway through the 4th round, Nathan Heaney, his jab can be a little bit lazy at times, and he can leave it out a little bit. And ultimately, when you do that, especially with a lazy jab, the jab really does need to be on point. Even if you're using the jab to get in on your opponent, as in if you're a shorter fighter, you can actually double up on the jab and you can use it to get up close. You need to make sure you don't have a lazy jab. You have a nice stinging, powerful jab that just blinds the opponent. It doesn't leave you open to counters. Nathan Heaney got countered with a big right hand, went down, and credit, he was able to see out the 4th round, went down, referee administered the count. That was in the books for Brad Pauls. And for me, just from watching the fight, it seemed almost as though that knockdown, it was like any confidence Nathan Heaney had in himself and his ability just went out the window. Because the commentary team on TNT are making out that this fight was close, it was competitive going into round 11, and in the 12th round it hung in the balance. I think actually it was Richie Woodhall's scorecard, or someone's scorecard I seen, in the 12th round where they had the fight a draw. Now, I have to be honest, I thought Brad Pauls pretty much, now Nathan Heaney did take a couple of rounds thereafter, but they were few and far between. I mean, it was really Brad Pauls and Brad Pauls big, for my money, in the remainder of the rounds. He was landing the more hurtful shots. He was landing the more clean, effective shots. He was really hurting Nathan Heaney. And Nathan Heaney, to his credit, he takes a fairly good shot because, he was ultimately stopped. He was down twice in this fight, but he took plenty of shots. Like, I was watching the fight, I was seeing some of the right hands and left hooks he was taking, and I was thinking, he's going to go. He didn't go down. And it was incredible because they were so flush and so clean from Brad Pauls. I was like, he's bound to be falling down. He's bound to be going down sooner or later, but he didn't. And as the fight progressed, he did nick a couple of rounds in there. He got back on his bike. He used his boxing. But it seemed as though when Nathan Heaney went down, some of the confidence left Nathan Heaney, and it just kind of went straight over to Brad Pauls because he really knew at that point, right, I hit this guy, I can hurt him. I can land on him. His defense, Nathan Heaney's defense has never been amazing. It's not something you look at when you look at Nathan Heaney and think that's a strength. It's not. His defense wasn't really there. And crucially, Brad Pauls was able to hurt Nathan Heaney. His shots were heavy. They were telling. They had an effect on Nathan Heaney. His nose, I think, when round 7 started to show signs of damage. There was a bit of blood there. I think it was the left side of his face started getting a bit swollen. Whereas Nathan Heaney was able to land plenty on Brad Pauls, but he had nothing to keep him off with. There was no respect there from Brad Pauls. There was nothing he was looking at from Nathan Heaney that Nathan Heaney was throwing, thinking, I need to look out for that, or I need to be careful with that. There was nothing like that. So Nathan Heaney, ultimately, he just didn't have the power, didn't have the strength really to match Brad Pauls in that type of fight. He couldn't keep it at range. Brad Pauls able to get in on him. And it was really round 11 where the TNT team, again, they were trying to kind of make it out, oh, it's nip and tuck, it hangs in the balance. I had Brad Pauls well ahead at that point. And round 11, he just kind of sealed the deal. He had a really strong end to the round. He hurt Nathan Heaney several times. And I actually thought with it maybe another 10 seconds, you probably would have seen a knockdown. Well, not seen a stoppage, you would have seen a knockdown. Round ends, going to round 12. TNT, they're making it out as though, okay, it all hinges on this round. Didn't think it did myself, but if it did, Brad Pauls made sure that no stone was left unturned. Got to Nathan Heaney very early in the round, started hurting him. Could have made an argument because he landed a couple of body shots to the hook to Nathan Heaney, and Nathan Heaney just kind of, he went down, but the referee didn't call it a knockdown. I didn't see any complaints from Brad Pauls, but you probably could have potentially made an argument for that being a knockdown as well. This is before the final knockdown. But anyway, referee Michael Alexander just ruled it knockdown. Brad Pauls goes back to work, beats Nathan Heaney, batters him up again the ropes. He was having a look at the time. He was looking and thinking, will I, won't I? The referee Michael Alexander, he was like, will I, won't I? Will I stop it, won't I? He didn't ultimately stop it. Nathan Heaney went down. Nathan Heaney, I think the will of the fans, the heart of Nathan Heaney got him this far into the fight, because I think he knew, I'm not winning this fight. I cannot get myself back into this fight. He obviously wasn't aware of what TNT were saying on the commentary team, but I think he knew himself, look, I'm losing this fight. He's hurting me. I can't hurt him. I'm losing. And the fans, the heart, it can only take you so far. He looked at his corner. There was kind of a little nod of the head, and the referee, who I did think was going to stop the fight. I thought he was going to stop it as soon as Heaney went down. He didn't. He did actually administer the count. Nathan Heaney sat the count out. That was it. So Brad Pauls, now British champion, wins this fight via knockout as well. So any doubt from the first fight, if some people felt that he won, he made sure not to leave it in the judge's hands this time. I liked it. Look, this fight was brilliant. I enjoyed this fight throughout. I got so captivated in it. I'm talking about it in a post-fight review I didn't think I'd be doing, so it was a great fight. Brad Pauls will go on to bigger and better things. Nathan Heaney, I mean, the fans just turned out in full. The atmosphere in Birmingham looked electric. It really did. The thing I would say, and I said this about Nathan Heaney in my preview, he's no spring chicken. He's a middleweight who's in his mid-30s now. He's 35 years old. So at that age, for a middleweight, certainly if you're only at British level, it's unlikely it doesn't look 35, but he is. It's unlikely you're going to do anything more. But with this being a loss where Nathan Heaney took a fair bit of damage, ultimately I think the fight was beaten out of him. I would say it's a very, very hard comeback. And listen, I would say it will be a very, very hard comeback if you were 29 years old. But the fact of the matter is you're 35. If you were 29 at this point in your career, I would say time is not on your side, but you have enough time. At 35, I just don't think time is there. I really don't. The good thing for Nathan Heaney is he'll always have those fans who'll follow him regardless. He has tremendous heart, but this was a damaging loss. And I'd say that will have taken a great deal out of Nathan Heaney, because I really do think, judging by how he was in round 12, had it not been for Nathan Heaney having a massive heart, had it not been for the fans cheering him on every step of the way, he probably would have capitulated and given way a lot earlier than he did. So, yeah, a lot of kind of soul searching for Nathan Heaney in the immediate future. For Brad Pauls, sky's the limit. Really is. Tremendous performance, great fight, brilliant show from Frank Warren. Credit to him. He knows how to put on a Magnificent Seven show. And we've got a good Queensbury show next week as well. So, plenty of good stuff to come from Frank Warren. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already.